Hi, boys and girls. So this might look a little familiar. We're going to pick up where we left off last week with our writing. So our learning goal is still, I can identify events in a story, which means I can also write about events in my own story. So today we're going to focus more on writing the events into our own story. And we're going to use this graphic organizer, which you will actually see on page 11 in your handbook as well. But remember, this is not the story that you're going to write on page 11 in your handbook. On page 11 in your handbook, when you get there, you're going to be writing the story that you have been creating. So today, we're going to look at the story I started last week, and we're going to figure out how to fill in our graphic organizer. So remember, every story should have a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? So if I want to fill in the beginning, I need to tell my reader who the characters are and what the setting is. So in my story, the first part of my story at the beginning says, Superforce was a superhero. She could use her super strength to push and pull. She watched over the city of La La Land. So that tells you, as the reader, that tells you who the character is, something about her power, and also the setting, the city of La La Land. So when you write your paper, you're going to tell about your character, their superpower, and the city, or the setting, sorry. And then we put it right here. So notice I took my character and my setting sentences, and I wrote them right here for the beginning. And then right here, I could draw a picture too. So you are going to write about your character and setting here. So for the beginning, Superforce was a superhero. She could use her super strength to push and pull. She watched over the city of La La Land. Now we need to move on to the middle. Remember, the middle usually has some kind of event or something happen, and there's usually a problem of some kind. So in my story, my problem is that there's a villain named Rough Tom, and he pushed kids around. Okay, and then one day Tom was bullying kids and taking money. That's a big problem, isn't it? He's a real villain. So I'm going to put that in my middle. Those are my events. She had to protect kids from the villain, Rough Tom. He pushed kids around. One day, here's my event, Tom was bullying kids and taking money. So I introduced my villain in the middle, and I told an event, which was also a problem. So now I know what Superforce has to do. Then I get to the end. Superforce used her powerful force and pushed Rough Tom away from the kid. Phew. But now, is that completely the end? Do I know what happened? Not really. I need to add a little bit more to make it a real end. Because remember, at the end, that problem gets solved, and then the story kind of gets wrapped up. Hopefully we have a happily ever after, right? So I'm going to add a little more. The kid got his money, and the day was saved. So now I know that she pushed Rough Tom away from the kid, but the problem got solved because not only did she push him, but she got the kid his money back. And I know that the problem was solved because it says the day was saved. So of course the problem was solved. So I'm going to write that here. For the end, Superforce used her powerful force and pushed Rough Tom away from the kid. The kid got his money, and the day was saved. So that sounds more like a story that's wrapped up. It's got an ending, right? So it ends with the day was saved. Remember, in the beginning, you always want to introduce your character and your setting. You're not going to say, the character is Superforce and the setting is in the city. You're going to do it in a nice sentence to introduce your story. In the middle, you're going to tell me events and maybe a problem of some kind. Since you guys are writing superhero stories with a villain, you're going to have some kind of a problem that your superhero has to come and save the world from. So that's going to go here in the middle. And then at the end, remember, how does the problem get solved? You want some kind of a happy ending. So you don't want to just say, the kid was saved. Tell me how. Superforce used her powerful force and pushed Rough Tom away from the kid. Then what? The kid got his money back, and there's your happy ending. The day was saved. All right, so this is how you fill in a beginning, middle, and end graphic organizer with your character setting and your events with your problem and your happy ending. Good luck when you get to your page 11. Bubble in your smiley face and go to the next thing on your list.